Okay, so I know that a lot of people, after they experience you and the communications from you, they feel a deep sense of inspiration and
Yes.
excitement about their lives and
Yes.
what they can do.
Yes.
Comparing that to, say, someone who loves to paint, but while they're painting, they're thinking about the bills they have to pay or something like that,
Then
even
they're
though
not in
they're,
their passion. They're not in their passion at that moment.
so you would be able to feel that inspired sense that we can feel after interacting with you. That would be a true indication of that higher frequency. Yes.
Yes, stay there.
Okay.
No matter what you have to think of. The idea is, again, you must remember that this all happens in perfect timing. There will be a time when, if it is important for you to ponder the idea of a bill, it will come in the form that is still part of your passion. It won't be a distraction. It won't be a less than experience. It won't distract you from the passion of the moment. You'll find the right time to be passionate about the idea of paying a bill if that is something that is truly necessary as part of your passion. So these things come in pure form. They don't obstruct each other. They don't interact in a way that is destructive to one another. It still allows you to come in a form in perfect timing that allows you to experience each and every one of those things in its pure, exciting form. Again,
Okay.
this is an issue of perfect timing.
Okay. And you've talked a lot about memories and how we create our memories from the present,
Yes.
and also how we can change the past by shifting our frequency.
Yes.
So how does that relate to other people that are in our lives if their memories aren't aligned with ours because we've shifted frequencies and shifted the planet that we're on? How does that synchronize between the people in our lives and what we remember and what they think is true?
Well, again, as we have said, for a while, you are agreeing to play the game of continuing to be aware of people that have made different choices and are experiencing different things. You're allowing that to be part of your game for a while. Eventually, you won't. Eventually, there will be no, shall we say, disagreement on the overall picture of what you're experiencing when you have shifted to the version of Earth where everyone is relatively harmonious and in sync with one another. But for now, for the purpose of experiencing process and for the purpose of still giving yourself the opportunity to change your mind and make different choices, you have agreed, even during your shifting, to shift to versions of Earth where you're still aware that there are different choices you could make that may not be relevant or in alignment with what you prefer. That's part of the choice you're making for now, to give everyone a chance to make their choices, to see in you different experiences they could choose for themselves, and for you to see in them different ideas you could choose for yourself. That's part of the game you're playing, even while shifting to different versions of Earth.
So what kind of a timeline are we looking at with this in terms of when you would experience Earth and be experiencing people having similar memories to you?
Of course, it will vary from individual to individual, but again, we could say that the overall bubble would probably be about 50 of your years.
Okay, and so for those individuals who may not live for another 50 years, they would
Yes.
just experience varying degrees of that.
Yes. Again, it will be per individual. Some may go on ahead, some may lag behind. There may be an average to it. So you can't just say it's true for everyone, but we're giving you an overall average for the collective of your reality, barring the exceptions, about 50 years for everyone that you perceive in the version of Earth you're in to seem relatively harmonious
Oh.
to whatever idea, relatively in sync to whatever idea you're experiencing, whether it's positive or negative.
This question has to do with suicide.
Yes.
And the person is asking, are either of these statements true? Someone who commits suicide will usually come back in physical form more quickly than someone who has died of natural causes.
You want me to answer that one first?
Sure.
All right. Generally, that seems to appear to be the case, but only because when a person arrives in spirit, they may realize very rapidly that that wasn't necessarily the choice they initially would have made, and they wish to finish the theme that they chose to explore. So they will look for an opportunity to do so in physical reality. Now, that's not necessarily true for everyone. Some may continue their theme of exploration much later, or in a different dimension, or even as a non-physical being. But in general, when you make a choice to experience a certain thing from the spirit level to begin with, linearly speaking, you usually want to stick to it and finish the job. So many times people that commit suicide will suddenly awaken to the fact that they did make a choice initially that was very important to them, and they will usually look for an opportunity to go back into the situation, at least something similar, so they can finish the theme they chose to explore relatively quickly, linearly speaking. So on average, in general, yes, there's validity to that, but it's not absolutely true for everyone.
Okay. And also, is this statement true? A being could get stuck in a dimension if they commit suicide.
No. They may think they're stuck. They may create an experience of being stuck for a while, but again, only because of the belief systems they may have brought in with them. Eventually that will dissolve because they have help from physical reality for those individuals who are sensitive to such things. And they have help from their spirit guides in non-physical reality as well. So they can have the experience of being stuck, but they're never actually stuck. That's just an illusion.
Okay. And also the idea that if someone is terminally ill and they are in great suffering and they choose to have assisted, suicide, I suppose.
Yes.
Does that come with the same idea of what you were saying in the first question?
No, not necessarily. Again, as always, you can't make a general concept true for everyone. It depends on the reason they're doing it. It depends on why they have attracted that situation to begin with. But in general, in the way you're asking the question, no.
Okay, great. So there are, there's legitimate reasons for quote unquote suicide.
Well, again,
and then,
remember, all death is suicide because mostly you have determined the window of your lifespan.
And then basically the choice of how you exit is something having to do with opportunity, but it may also have to do with the other people that are involved in your life, etc.
Yes. Again, you have to take it, as always, on a case-by-case, person-by-person basis to see why someone has chosen what they have chosen and why they're experiencing it in that way. But in answering the question generally, the answer is generally no. It's not the same as if you commit suicide through the idea of desperation or fear.